6:30 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and thank you very much for joining us. End of year in Cameroon as a whole is always marred by some social ills and accidents. One of the main ills that do happen when it comes to the end of the year. And talking about road accidents, this or last week we've witnessed several accidents in Cameroon, in Dikinimiki, in Boya, and in other localities, which has recorded a lot of deaths. And up to now, the Minister of Public Health is still parading some hospitals to visit some victims. And as a result of that, we'll be looking into the causes of what actually could be the cause of these road accidents, most especially at the end of the year. And to discuss about this, we are honored to have a journalist with us, a senior reporter, and I'm talking of Peter Tambe. He will be accompanied by Mange Fenashus. Once more, you're all welcome. Good evening to you, Peter Tambe, and it's a pleasure having you again after a long while.
Good evening, Vanessa. It's always lovely being in your studio to discuss very serious things that have to do with our society.
Mange Fenashus, you're welcome. Happy to see you.
Good evening, Vanessa. Good evening to our brother, Mr. Tambe, and good evening to our viewers. It's another opportunity for us to share one or two things together.
Let us take the first part of the show. Excessive road accidents in Cameroon. Can the poor state of roads be attributed to that? Peter, I'll begin with you. Our poor state of roads.
Yeah, it is.
Yes. Fenashus?
Vanessa, I sit on the fence. Yes and no. No to a larger extent.
No to a larger extent. And is there anything to reduce the rate of these road accidents? Fenashus?
Yes, Vanessa.
Peter, of the same opinion?
Yes, I am.
Yes. Coming up next, let us have the debate. Excessive road accidents in Cameroon as a whole. We are trying to find out the poor state of road be attributed to that cause. Peter, you think that we should blame our poor state of road as the main cause or the cause to these road accidents?
Absolutely. I think that our roads are the main cause, though there might be human cause, there might be human mistakes too that can lead to accidents and loss of lives. But our roads are, in a greater extent, the cause of the accidents. When you go look at the roads, we have in these roads since the independence, more than 50 years now. These roads are the same. We had these roads when Cameroon was dealing with 504 Peugeots for intertown transporting. After 504 Peugeots, we had Hiace buses, Toyota Hiace buses. After Toyota Hiace buses, we have Coaster buses. After Coaster buses, here we are with 70-seaters buses. These roads have remained the same. Then the population of Cameroon was just about 10 million inhabitants. Today we are more than double. It means that the traffic on these very roads has gone more than 4 times it was. The roads have stayed the same. It's not like we don't have this country does not have money. It's not like this country does not have the landscape to enlarge in these roads so they can take the flow of the traffic and the kind of vehicles we've had nowadays onto the roads. But the roads have stayed the same. I'll go on to give you one little short story. In our work of journalism, we are called upon to travel constantly. And one day, I'm used to going to Yaoundé to and fro. And one day, I'm forced to travel at night. It's not like I like traveling at night. It's one of the things I hate. One day, I had to come back to Douala for work purpose to travel in the night. Unfortunately, our boss had a breakdown on the way. And we had to stand by so that his bus could be repaired and then we go back. If I tell you the quantity of heavy-duty trucks that I saw pass by in a space of an hour, if I tell you the quantity of trailers that I saw pass by in the space of an hour, I tell you I felt chill run down my spine. And this is the same road we are taking every day. It's just by the grace of God that we're not having this kind of accident every day in this country. Because by the time one of these trailers is plying on that road, it takes more than half of the road. These drivers, I take on my own to congratulate them. How they manage to go to Yaoundé and come back to Douala every day, plying this very road. Because if one coastal bus stands on this road, it takes more than half. How do they manage when they are overtaking? How do they manage when a coastal bus is going forth and you have a trailer coming the opposite direction? How do they do it? This driver, to my point of view, they are extra humans. Because in other claims, they don't have this kind of road to call them highway. In my point of view, frankly, these are not highways. These are farm parts. Because they were highways then. Today they cannot be called highways again. If you go to other claims, they don't call these highways because you have three lanes going and 3 lanes coming. To say the least, you have 2 lanes going and 2 lanes coming. How come in Cameroon where we are on 1 lane going, 1 lane coming in the 21st century? And to say the least, when they are making another road, here they say somewhere in Cameroon they are making another road, but you go there, it's the same thing. 1 lane going, 1 lane coming. We're marking time while others are going forward. If you make a step in our neighboring countries, I don't want to call names, but you go there, you see them for yourself. These are not the kind of roads they have. While people are going forward, Cameroon is going behind. And we'll keep deploring deaths every day. It's appalling, really, to see what's happening. It's appalling. And that's not all. These roads are small. Not only are they small, but they are bad. You go onto these roads, you see potholes here and there. You go onto these roads, some of them don't even have signposts again. And these drivers,
don't have speed brakes.
They don't have speed brake. They don't have signposts. These drivers drive. They don't when I mean signposts, I don't know. The driver does not know when to increase the speed, when to reduce the speed. The driver does not know in 500 meters from here there is a bend left or right. The driver is driving like a blind man, moving on the street. A couple of days ago, there was an accident that 2 people died in the RAV car. A red RAV car, we saw it on TV. The cost of that was that there was a pothole. The driver bumped onto it and it exploded his tire. By the time he was struggling to stabilize on the road, that's a big bus coming, and that was it. 2 people's life went. That's why I say our roads are more of it. It's not like accidents don't happen in other countries. They do happen. We are human. You can't do without accident. They will always happen. But then, if roads were good, they will go a long way to reduce this accident.
They will go a long way to reduce these accidents. Mangavina Shoes, you are standing on the fence to not to a larger extent the roads are not the main cause of these road accidents.
Yes, Vanessa, Mr. Tambe has actually explained the other side of my answer, the roads, that we could attribute them to the roads. But from my own point of view, I still maintain that not necessarily the road. You know, one Cameroonian artist said something that, I think Black Rogers, says something that the road does not kill. We are the people who kill ourselves. It's true that good roads are as scarce in Cameroon as virgins are in this country. It's true. But then we must try to find out, to say, when there is an accident, not necessarily the road. Because if you look at the way Mr. Tambe concluded his point, even in those other good roads, we still have accidents. I wanted to look at the other issue, the recklessness of drivers and passengers. When we are traveling, we want to arrive at all cost. I remember when you come and you are stranded in Bamenda because you want to travel to Douala, the least opportunity that comes, you enter the car. You don't tempt them. You know, they used to tell us in school that you must look at the state of the driver, look at the state of the car, look at the tires before you are sure. How many of us even venture to see even if that car even had tires at all? We just bump into it and we are going. The worst of all is once we enter the car, even if the seats are not available, they tell us to sit on the staircase. We don't have any problem. I mean, we the passengers. They tell us to sit because what happens is the buses that we have, when we have occupied the 17 normal seats on the bus, they take some stools and add them along the path,
the
corridors, and we passengers, we comfortably sit on it without any question. We are the people who even propose it, because maybe they will reduce 1,000 from it, and we are going. We forget about accidents. We don't, because I think that as a passenger you should say, no, I am not entering this car because this driver looks tipsy. I'm not entering this car. Or the state of this car looks dangerous. I am not going. Or the seats, this car is already full. I am not. I would rather wait for the next car. But we don't do that because we want to arrive. And somebody said it is better late than never. If we decide to say that, no, we better go late than never at arriving at all, I think we will curb the road, the number of accidents. I was talking about drivers. You need to see when these drivers hit the road, the small roads that Mr. Tambe was explaining, the very, very, very narrow roads. You see a highway, okay, we call it highway today, Douala Yaoundé Highway, and you see the kind of highway that we have linking two big cities like Douala and Yaoundé. Look at the way these drivers they ply this tiny road, this narrow road. You tend to ask yourself, do they know that they are carrying up to 70 souls plus, if in case we have children in the behind? Because the rate at which they are running, you tend to know whether as they are going, their destination is also moving. So the recklessness is recorded from the parts of drivers as well as that of the passengers. Then I was talking about the state of vehicles. There are some owners of this or traveling agencies. They think that once you buy a car, you have bought, at least you've created your own money machine, money making machine. They forget that there's what we call depreciation cost that has to be applied on these cars. Every day we just maintenance actually. They don't maintain the cars, because you see a car with the tires that are as flat as any other thing. They are smooth, which means the tires are worn out, but we are running with them. You see the cars that is practically, once, you know, a colleague was saying here the other day that once the car is already loaded, you see the car tilted one-sided. But we are in it.
Some of the drivers will tell you that the engine is new.
Correct. It is the cabin that looks fragile.
Yes,
the
but
engine
the engine is
still up
new.
to. But then we are on the road. It hits the road and we are going. Another one is the working condition. Vanessa, at the beginning of the program, you indicated that at this end of year, that is when we normally experience a high rate of road accidents. It is true that at the end of the year, that is when you have so many people traveling. And what traveling agencies they do is they use the drivers to the maximum, as much as they can. You from here to Yaoundé, immediately you are reaching Yaoundé, since there is the passengers are there, you load the car is loaded and you hit the road. Immediately you are reaching Douala, you don't have the time to rest. These drivers are human beings. They pump them to work, because what they pump them is, maybe they may give you some incentives. If you go 3 rounds, they add you maybe 5,000. Just that, they destabilize their mind, and all is, I must reach Douala today, I must reach Bamenda today. Forgetting that within that search for must reach Douala today, Maurice Bamenda, they forget a lot of things, and it plunges them into this accident. So I think that if we are talking about most of these accidents, the roads will count, but when you put all this together, you see that they may even play more than the road itself, because we may have good roads, and if the states of the cars are not up to date, we would still have accidents. If the working conditions of these drivers are not up to date, how many of them, when they go out for this night journeys, how many of them take a rest? Because immediately you reach Bamenda in the morning by 10 a.m., you hit the roads back to come to Douala.
No, it's like those working during the day are different from those working at night.
That was in theory. In practice is, you are on the steering, you reach Bamenda, the car is loaded and you hit the road. Because how many of those agencies will be able to employ two drivers per bus? You have a bus, and this bus will not go and they park it while there are passengers that are going to Douala, that they are waiting for evening. How many of them? So immediately you reach the park.
No, I've got to speak with some of most of these agencies, and they do have such employers. During the day they have different drivers, and in the night they do have different drivers.
That is what I meant by in theory. In the practical do of it, you would see that I'm the owner of this car, I'm the driver of this car, of this bus. Immediately I reach Bamenda, it is because I will not reach Bamenda and park a car and the car is standing. Do they only employ them during this peak period or throughout the year? That is what they normally do. Because when there are no passengers, you go, you park, you sleep, and you wait for evening when you park again and do your next. So you arrive here in the morning and you rest and you wait for evening. That is how they do. So when they tell you that they have it, it is just like inspections that come down to companies, and then the manager will tell you that all my workers are insured on National Social Insurance Fund. But then they are not they are not insured. I think for us to do the right, to get the right statistics, we should investigate what is going on, not asking them. Because when you ask them, none of them will tell you, no, we have only this number of drivers, Vanessa.
Thank you very much, Mangavenashus, for some of those points being raised. In the second question, is there anything to reduce the rate of these accidents? Peter, you think that there are a lot of things to do so. What can be done there?
There are a lot of things, too many of them. If I heard Mangavenashus talk, you could hear him say these drivers at times don't have enough rest. You could hear him say the tires are so wear out. Here comes a third party, which is the government. There should be somebody there to stop this bus on the road and ask them, see, you moving with the bus whose tires are worn out. There should be somebody who will stop this bus and ask the driver, you look tired, come down. I think somewhere,
or you look tipsy.
Yeah, you look tipsy. I think somewhere some experts say that when a driver drives for about 200 kilometers, normally he has to have a rest, and the second driver picks up if the journey has not come to an end. But when we get to these buses, hardly do you see the driver which is his assistant. What you can see there is what they usually call motorboard. And the driver will drive, and that very driver driving, he goes there and he will picks the bus back to Douala. And don't tell me that the ministry does not know that this driver get incentives of say 5,000 or more when they do extra trips, especially at the peak period. They know it. What do? Nothing. Some of them, the buses, the tires are wear out. What do? Nothing. When you have these traffic road safety agents on the road, a lot of them, the road safety agents and our uniform men, when they stop the car, we know what happened. That I will not spell out here. We know what happened. And
the same as when they meet a bus with an overcrowded seats, for example, they don't bother.
At times they even hardly come out. They even hardly come
because
inside to check.
I've witnessed a situation where they'll say, no, just hold about 2,000 francs. When they meet you, give them and they'll let you go.
And that is what happens on our roads. If we go to take, for example, we have to call this name here because this is the agency that's involved in the accident, the Avenir Voyage agency. They always load and load, even the passage, they call that bank de touche. They pick when you get into the bus, they pick up these buses will get to them every day because of our work. They pick up their stools up there and they put them there and people sit. This is, normally traveling is supposed to be pleasure. But traveling nowadays in Cameroon becomes very awkward. By the time you reach, you are damn tired. There is a company that I will not call the name here that is specialized in increasing the seats of the buses. When the bus comes new, they have to go and remove the seats. They increase the seats such that when you sit in the bus taking a trip, your legs are so bent. By the time you can't stretch your legs. By the time you reach, you feel pains all over your body just because they want to increase the seats and make much money. Just as if it was not enough, the passage where it was supposed to pass and go down, it's all filled up with people, meaning that a bus that was initially made for 70 people will end up carrying 100 and something souls. And don't tell us that our government doesn't know about this. They do know. They let it go until the day it happens that hundreds of souls die like it just happened. That's when they will come giving sanctions. That's when they will come giving promises
which are not even respected.
That's when the sanctions which are never being respected. Which means that they come, they give sanctions, they come, they pay for hospital bills. And what about those who are dead? And the whole, after some time, everybody forget, the whole system comes all over again. It's not like when these things happen, we come down here and people say we're playing the blame game. It's not about the blame game. Okay? It's not about the blame game because when the chips are down, you need to spell things out. Because at the tail end, it's Cameroonian, innocent Cameroonian lives that are piping down the drain. Okay? Now, this is not the first agency that these things has happened to. This has happened to other agencies before. What has it been? These things doesn't only happen into the office. It's not about the administrative work. All is not about signing papers and passing ministerial orders. Somebody needs to get down to the field and do something. Somebody needs to hit a hand on the table for something to happen. Okay? We keep having narrow roads, nothing is done. We keep having people misusing buses, treating passengers the way they want, nothing is done, because there are some guys there who sit up there since they are on comfortable chairs. It doesn't affect them. Since they can take a plane and change and go from one town to another, nothing affects them. There are some guys there standing by a roadside who are supposed to enter the bus and control it. They don't do that, because they'll stand by the roadside and the driver will go down with some banknote and give them, and you continue your journey.
Peter,
whatever happens ahead,
could we say that passengers do have a great role to play as well? Because if they do not denounce these agencies, or if they accept the fact that they need to sit on stools in a bus, then it means they're encouraging the agencies.
Thank you for that question. Thank you for that question. Passengers have a role to play. But now, will you be that passenger who will want to preach in the desert? Have you ever gone to a bus agency, you go and look the driver and say you were alone? You need to have an assistant, because when you get tired, you will get another one. Do they answer you? Have you ever gone to an agency and say, look at this bus, the tires are wear out? Does somebody answer you? Why don't they answer you? They don't answer you because they know your voice doesn't count, even though it's your money that keeps the agency working. They don't answer you because they know that in front there, they know what they are counting on. And that's how it is. And it is our life that are at stake here. But then, that is why we call on the government. They are the one holding the stakes, but it seems like they sit with the agencies and the driver on the same side, and we, the passenger, sit on the opposite sides. Even though it is because of the passengers that the agency exists. And that's how it is.
And that is how it is. Thank you very much, Peter. Mange Venashu, so you think that things can be done to reduce these road accidents?
Yes, Vanessa, let me continue from where Mr. Tambe ended about the role that passengers would have to do. I think that this is a platform that we have to think of, creating awareness. Let these passengers understand that your life matters more than that agency, because the agency, if it tells you that they are doing you any favor, that's a lie. They are on business, and their interest is their money, not you. All is, you pay the money, whether it means you stand, this is your problem, or you've paid your fare. If it were, because if they were to think of the comfort of these passengers, you would not sit in because I tend to ask myself, is it that buses that are made for Africa, are they different from buses that you see out of Africa? Because in a bus you sit, you can barely even support your legs. For those who are tall, it is a problem, because the seats are too choked up in such a way that you cannot even sit fluent. You see, those who are a bit
like Mr. Tambe says, some of them come with these buses.
The problem is
they dismantle the seats and add
the seats, reduce the spacing so that they can fit 2 or 3 other rows of seats in the car. It is not for your comfort. It is to make more gain. So the target is not you. The target is their money, the profit that they want. So it's high time that we sensitized our Cameroonians to think about their safety first. You are responsible for your safety. Don't think that agency is responsible for your safety. 2, we need drivers to know that they are dealing with human beings, and human life is not. You cannot replace it. The least error, just with a twinkle of an eye, the life is gone, and once it is gone, that is all for eternity. There's nothing you will ever do with it. So we need to let them know that once you are behind that wheel, know that you are carrying the lives of 70 human beings, which you cannot even fabricate one. You may have children, but you don't have that very man. You cannot fabricate just one. So they need to know that they are carrying human lives. Vanessa, there is something in this country they called roadworthiness certificate, which means before you ply the road, you must go for technical, inspection. They call it in French visite technique. They carried out the state of your car, and they deliver a certificate to you to say this car is fit, technically speaking, to travel to cover this distance. That is why when you have your private car and you, according to what the norms in driving school, when you are supposed to take an abnormal distance or a longer distance, you must take the car to the garage so that they do an overall check, technical check, to find out the state of the car. Because if you just drive from here to Aqua and back, you think that the car is okay. But when you task the car for long, that is when you discover that this car had problems. So this roadworthiness certificate, I doubt how many of them, because we was talking about control along our roads. What do they control along our roads? It is not the certificate. There are drivers who even ply our roads without licenses.
Yeah.
And they are on the road. What do they control? 500 francs, 1,000 francs, you are gone. Nobody checks it. Because you will not understand control. Somebody comes out with a pile of documents and he jumps out of the car. In less than 2 minutes, he is coming back to the car. Let us go. When did you check, especially at night? You see somebody struggling with a torch. You don't even see him reading. They just hand over the packet to you. He opens and removes his because that's what happens. Removes his 500 or 1,000 francs and covers the whole thing and gives you, and you continue. When did you read it to see are you even sure the person driving the car is the person who owns that license or who's supposed to drive the car? These are the things that when we put them together, we're talking about control. Let the control be the control of the state of the car, the control of the regulations, the norms, what is supposed to be, and not the control of 500 francs, not the control of 1,000 francs. Because what we have on our roads, they don't control. How many of them will enter the car to see who is in the car? How many of them will enter the car to see the state, whether the sitting position of the
passengers?
Of the passengers. I was discussing with one driver and was saying that once you are leaving the agency and your car is not full, you are happy. You know why you're happy? Because along the road you do what they call ramassage, clandestine. You pack as much as they can enter. Anybody who breaks you enters. That is your own money. That's why they are happy. And in that case, they put the life of Cameroonians, Vanessa, at risk. That's why I think that we have many things to do. Like he was saying, if the government sits up, it is no sanctioning. Because when we are talking of more than 70 lives that perished in that accident, and they give the agency 1 month, it's insignificant to me. It is insignificant because when you put their responsibility on stake, no, especially at this time
when some media organs even went there to check out how they are respecting the sanctions, they were being chased away.
Of course.
That is it. Thank you very much, Mange Venashus. Tambe?
All is not about sanctioning. These sanctions they've been giving them every day, and things keep going, and the circle keeps coming up. There's another thing Mange Venashus was saying that I found very good. We need to educate our Cameroonian, our fellow citizens. We need to educate them. There is something that Cameroonians have taken into habit. I'll call that a very bad habit: traveling in the night. Why should you travel in the night? Why don't you travel in the day? Because experience have shown that traveling in the night is a very risky venture. It's a very dangerous venture. If you go biologically, the human system is slow in the night. We are supposed to be sleeping in the night, not working, which means that the driver is a human being. You cannot expect that he's so effective in the night than it is in the morning. There are trips that people make in the night. Douala Yaoundé in the night, Douala the western region in the night, Douala the northwestern region in the night. Those are extremely risky because most accidents, you go check into the records, happen in the night. The recent one we just happened, 39 people died, was in the night. If these people are traveling in the day, it would have been something else. Certainly. Because in the night, a lot of negative things happen and positive things happen in the night. Those controls, all these controls are not done, cannot be done in the night. So I would want to educate our Cameroonian brothers, try to reduce your traveling in the night. You could do it in the day. Why do people like traveling in the night? I don't think there's any reason about that. So that's another point I wanted to underline that we might have passed through without seeing. If you go to those agencies, you see people who have booked in the night. The number is appalling.
Exactly.
I'm telling you.
All right. Thank you very much, Tambe Peter, for coming. A New Year wish to somebody special.
There are a whole lot of them, a whole lot of friends and family members. I won't like to start calling them so that someone feel that I've forgotten them. I'll say Happy New Year to everybody out there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming. Wish you a Happy New Year as well.
Same to you guys all. And Happy New Year to you too.
Thank you very much, Mange Venashus, as well. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your kind attention. That said, drivers, please be prudent, be vigilant, be extra careful when you are on the highway because you hold the lives of many in your hands. See you tomorrow. God willing, do take care and stay safe.